Welcome, everyone, to the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, coming to you live on 106.5 FM WPPM Philadelphia, streaming globally and broadcasting live on LinkedIn. I'm Kenneth L. Johnson. Listen, shout out to everybody that's just out here moving around Philly. I know it's cold. I see you all out here, South Philly, Southwest, West Philly, Northeast Philly, Uptown, everybody. And especially for all the people that shouted out to me yesterday, I'm just going to say that I got some calls. Shout out to Guy, Boo, Apple, everybody that locked in. Carla, thank you so very much for just remembering me. I appreciate that so much. Listen, today's episode of this Kenneth L. Johnson Show is a little different. It's a special conversation about strategy, vision, and what's next. We'll explore my own personal journey, my goals for the show, and the work we're doing to elevate careers, culture, and community. It's the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, live on WPPM 106.5 Philly. Listen, before we jump in, I want to take a moment to thank all of our listeners for being part of this journey. Your questions, your energy, your engagement are what makes this platform meaningful. So listen, hit us up, 646-600-9873. Once again, 646-600-9873. That's the number, and you can call in and get your questions answered, possibly on today's show. For all my people on LinkedIn checking in, I appreciate you. Thank you so very much for supporting the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. Again, as I mentioned, we have a special show today, and the reason that show is special is because I'm excited that I'm going to hand the mic over to the one and only Nicole Smith today. Listen, Nicole's someone I deeply respect and have been friends with for years. She's a leadership coach. Nicole will guide this conversation and ask me some thoughtful questions about my background, the vision for the show, and what drives me professionally. Nicole, take over the mic on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show.
Oh, wow. This is a lot of pressure. I'm coming in, taking the seat of a true professional. So I hope I can do you and the show justice. Thanks for trusting me with that.
Of course, I trust you with that. Nicole's a friend of the show and someone who always brings clarity and intention. So I appreciate you being here today. As I pass the mic to you, I pass it in trusted hands. This is crazy. I've never done this before, right?
Well,
So this is a whole new, let me be transparent. I wanted to do something like this. So in speaking to you and you being kind of open to that, all I can say is I'm grateful and I appreciate you.
aw, and I appreciate you. So, let's talk a little bit about how this show came about, right? We were having a conversation, and I was like, I've known you for about 5 years now. And over time, I've gotten to learn more about you. When I first got introduced to you, you were just somebody who reached out to ask me to participate in one of your shows you were hosting. Yes. And over time, I've gotten to know you and know just how multifaceted you are. And I think you're probably more interesting and quite more fascinating than people know. So I'm excited to shed some light, turn the spotlight on you, the spotlight you always put on others, and let people see you today. So I have a little ulterior motive. I want people to know what I know, sharing the knowledge.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. I see that my internet is kind of slowing down here a little. So apologies if people are on LinkedIn and you're watching this and it seems like I'm dragging a little, but everybody on 106.5 FM running around Philly, I'm locked in with you. So this is why we do this. So let's go, Nicole.
Yeah, there's a little bit of drag in the video, but the good news is your audio is coming through loud and clear. So I'm just going to pop in and start on our first question, which is essentially there's a lot of ways to watch and listen to this show, but there's also a lot of ways people might have found you or know you. So let's run it down. You are the president and founder of East Coast Executives. You are the organizer of TEDx Harlem. You're the host of the National Urban League Digital Career Success Series, sought after moderator, speaker. I mean, people might just see you on the Philly streets. So all of those things you do and all the ways people might know you, talk to me a little bit about what's the through line there? How does that all come together and end up here?
I love the question. It's really crazy. I think it's the through line is really what we speak about on the show, right? Career, culture, community. And those are the things that we look to do and bring to each and every show every Monday at 2 p.m. on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. I love the work we do. And with that being said, I get excited about bringing all of those pieces that you mentioned together to just give information to our audience and to share people's stories.
Information and sharing stories. That's amazing. And so let's just dig a little bit about sharing stories. So, like, you've had a nice sized career. I mean, celebrating 25 years at ECE this year, East Coast Executives, 25 years old. That's some longevity. That's longevity that a lot of people never see. And a lot of people who are maybe starting something right now, because you started this on your own, right? Would like to see. What do you think are the pivotal moments and things that have happened in your career over time that have allowed you to make it to this point?
You know, it's been an interesting run, right? 25 years. Started the show, started the firm East Coast Executives, literally from my dining room in South Philly. And you know, I think the pivotal moment, the most pivotal moment, is just deciding that you wanted to do something special for people and for yourself and for the communities that really look for you to provide some type of leadership and provide some type of information. What I was seeing out here is I was working with company leaders, C-suite executives, talent acquisition teams. They were sharing information with me because the landscape was changing back then. And, you know, we started to see LinkedIn start to really show its face. And then we had talent acquisition systems, and people were wondering like what was going on with the job boards, and all of this stuff was new. But I had inside information, and I knew that this information, if shared widely with people that are out here really looking for opportunities, I can make a difference. And I just started reaching out and building partnerships and networking with organizations that were supporting groups of individuals to allow me to have a bigger impact. And I think it's paid dividends in the long run, not only for me, but for the people we've supported.
That's amazing. So I'm like taking notes over here, which I'm sure many people who are listening to this are. And one of the things I'm like taking away from this is that you have been just a consistent source of leadership and knowledge sharing for 25 years in this space. And so that's incredible. But just for the people who may not know, because we're just like kind of rolling in this conversation about executive recruiting and search, talk to me about the value to the people who are looking for jobs, because a lot of people don't really know like how they fit in with this. And I know there's a lot of job seekers out there, but also the value to the hiring managers. Listen, I've been on that hiring side of things, and it's not all glitz and glamour. It's actually pretty tough. So how are you helping both sides of that spectrum?
Yeah, you know, let's start with the hiring managers, right? So companies typically, when you're working with East Coast executives, we operate as what they call a retained search firm. So companies come to us when they're looking to add talent to their recruitment pipelines. That's the work we do, right? So a company comes and says, hey, we're looking for a chief marketing officer, right? So when people are looking for people with that skill set, I tap into not only our network, but I just go around and see who's doing an amazing job of that type of work, right? So through my recruitment and sourcing, we come up with a person like Nicole Smith, right? And 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 then when I find the top people that are doing that work, I just reach out and share a conversation with them to see, one, if they have interest in the opportunity, but if they don't have interest, if they know anyone within their network, friends, associates, colleagues that may actually have some interest in exploring new opportunities, and then I present the opportunity. And once we talk and kind of vet that process through, then I present those people to my candidates, and hopefully they'll like them and they'll take them through the interview cycle and they'll get hired. And that's the work we do. See, companies get bogged down, especially in today's world, Nicole, because there's so much noise out here, I'll call it, in the space. Fake candidates, fake resumes, fake jobs even, right? So with that being said, the trust has been broken. We had Minda Harts on the show, and she was talking about the 7 trust languages. And I never even thought about that from this standpoint. But sometimes the trust is broken in the candidate to employer relationship, and then even now the employer to candidate relationship. So with that being said, I think we make a really good conduit to connecting talent, top talent. And that's the work we do for the employers, right? From the candidate side of it, you know, typically we go out and recruit and source our candidates. However, people do reach out to us and ask us if we can help them within their search. And typically what that involves is us really having opportunities that fit. And that happens on occasion. We post jobs on the East Coast Executives website. We have a career opportunities page. Anyone and everyone is welcome to go to that page and look at the opportunities that we currently have. Those are our open searches. But look, if you just want to talk and if you have a unique skill set, or if you're a high achiever in the work that you're doing and you're looking for new opportunities, we want to speak to you as well. We just want to add value across the board. So that's the work.
All right. I think that clarifies it for people. So like the big takeaway here is that for hiring managers, you're taking the work of finding that unicorn, that perfect candidate for them off their plate, doing it through your good relationships and all those things we mentioned before, all those places you are, all the communities you're a part of, that helps you even more in being able to source unique and diverse candidates. And then on the candidate side, they can reach out to you because that helps make them more visible and easier to find should the opportunity present itself. Sound about accurate?
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's important work. It's really, really important work. So, I mean, right now, like one of the things that you said earlier, you mentioned the changing landscape. I feel like we are in an era of rapid change right now, right? So if you were talking to hiring managers right now, and we'll do candidates in a second, but let's talk to hiring managers first. In this era of rapid change, what do you think is the most important thing they could be doing right now to position themselves to find the best talent? There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people to sort through. What do you do?
Well, you contact the East Coast Executives.
Okay, I think I walked right into that one. That wasn't on purpose, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I suggest they do, right? This is the work we do, and no one does it better. However, I think it's really important for them to move authentically right now in this space. We have, there's competition is everywhere, and it's easier to get in front of talent now as a recruiter, as a talent acquisition team, as an individual. It's just really easy to get in front of people. So what's the story you're telling once you get there, right? Is it an authentic story? Is it a story of partnership? We no longer live in a place where people work for a company. You're partnering, you're taking your unique skill set to that organization and you're partnering to do something amazing, right? So with that being said, I think companies need to approach candidates really looking at how they can collaborate. You're not doing anyone a favor. Good candidates have opportunities with other organizations. Why do they choose yours? And typically because you're authentic, you offer something that other people don't offer, and you align with the things that they believe in just genuinely.
Awesome. So then, I mean, what I'm hearing from you is you're a man of the people, essentially, making sure that everyone, I love the concept of like partnership. I think a lot of people, when they're looking for jobs or their employers, and this kind of crosses over into my lane a little bit of executive coaching, is like, understand that when you're in that role, like sometimes the power dynamics can feel so strong. But if you take the position of we're partnering, this is a value exchange. I bring value to this conversation. The employer brings value to the conversation. I always find that you get such a high level of output when everybody respects the other person on the other side. And I love that you brought up Minda Harts and the idea of trust and what she's talking about right now, because I think that's incredibly important in this too. So let's flip to the other side of the coin, which is the people who are looking for jobs, job seekers. And there are plenty of them out there, unfortunately, more and more every day. So what's the best advice that you can give them on how to be visible, how to be found, and how they can find the right partner?
Yeah, there's some amazing tools out here that allow job seekers to present their best self, right? Present the commercial, the highlight reel, if we will. And I think they should leverage them and use them effectively, because trust me, the companies, people like me, we're watching. We want to see who's out here leading in their own unique way. And when I say leading, Nicole, I don't mean that you need to be the CEO of your organization, that you need to be in the C-suite. Just leading in your thought leadership, in how you create and interact on the platforms like LinkedIn and the other places where job seekers hang out. Even if you're not doing the virtual networking, how you relate and connect genuinely and in-person networking events and things of that nature. Where are you showing up at? It's just really important now. I think more important than it's ever been, because we're living in a content created, what are you doing now environment. And with that being said, we have to be mindful of that. I know some people might not like it, but You know, I know I've heard you talk about being an introvert, but then
Yeah.
being able to people as well. And with that being said, I just think you get it and understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I am an introvert. I don't have any problems admitting that. And peopling is a lot for me. I usually have to rest after a day full of peopling. But it is important to be visible. I mean, I hear you. Like you have to be visible. You also have to be mindful of how you're showing up as much as you are where you're showing up. Um, and I think maybe you agree or disagree with this. It is a not only just quantity. It's not like, oh, I have to post all the time. I always have to be out, always have to be shaking hands, kissing babies, but it's the quality of that interaction. One of the things you sometimes see is like people they go on LinkedIn to share their frustrations or to share, different takes on things, and that's also a part of how you showing up, and that's showing who you are and how you handle stress and how you handle rejection and how you handle different things, and it may or may not have an impact.
Yeah, it's important to know how you add value and then do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Okay, so then let's get even deeper in this. Speaking of people adding value and having impact, let's bring it back to where we are, which is the Kenneth L. Johnson Show on WPPM 106.5 FM in Philadelphia. How'd I
You
do?
know
I
what?
like practicing that, by the
I'm
way.
getting concerned. I'm getting concerned. You rolled that tag. I
You
loved
should
it.
be. You should be worried. You should be worried. No, don't worry. I'm not coming for your show. Promise. I mean, I am not.
Listen,
I love being here, but I'm not coming for your show.
I have some ideas around this, so bear with me. I think we need to have a conversation after this. So
So I've heard. So I've heard. No, you're a very fun person to spend time with. I love doing this with you, but this is not going to turn into an interview. We're going to keep with the questions. We're going to bring it back to the show. So when you think of all that you do, the people that you serve, hiring managers, first and foremost, as those are your clients, and then obviously candidates, because that's a very important input to what you do. And then we bring that all back around to this show, right? What was your vision and thought about the Kenneth L. Johnson show? What was the impact you wanted to create? And so, like, how did we get here?
yeah, you build these platforms with a lot of different things in mind, and you try to narrow it down to a couple core principles, right? So for me, I just looked at it from the standpoint of the people I serve. You shared some of this earlier in this conversation. So I look at the employers, right? The companies that I serve. So I wanted to give them a platform where they could touch their candidates, right? Where they can touch their employees, where they can show up, and I keep using this word, authentically, in a place where they can speak directly to the people that may be looking at them as a solution for their employment opportunities or employment needs, right? And also as a business quotient, right? You just never know when people are looking and they want to work with somebody, and it gives people a platform to present themselves and tell a little bit about what they do and what they're looking for. I think a lot of time candidates need information. They know about companies, they might not know exactly what they do. They know about opportunities, they might not necessarily know what skill sets are the ones coveted by the employment partner, right? So that was an important piece. Hey, let's bring executives, let's bring leaders, let's bring hiring managers on the platform to speak directly to what we'll call the end user, right? The candidate in this case. And for the candidates, isn't it always good to know what people are looking for when you're out here carving out your career? And listen, you could have a job and be 100% committed to that opportunity, right? You love your workplace, you love your job, but that doesn't mean you don't need to get better. It actually means you need to get better. So I think there's a professional development component to the Kenneth L. Johnson show that allows us to add value in that way to not only the hiring managers and the C-suite executives, but also to the candidates out here and to the employees that just want to get better and want to learn more and know more. And that's the thing I think we do extremely well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you do it brilliantly. I think it was over the weekend you posted and there was like a list of people who have been on the show. And if nothing else, the show has been incredibly informative, right? So like, even if you think you've done everything and you've been on a job search before, you know exactly what to do. I feel like this is a place that you can come and you might hear a little nugget that can help you just tip your candidacy a little bit more, or you'll hear a little piece of information that's like, oh, I can be that much better. And in a job market as competitive as this one, that little 1% better could be the difference between you getting that call or not getting that call. So to your point of wanting to do a service, My humble opinion, focus group of one, is that you're successfully doing that. And I know that that's important to you. And you break what you do down into community, um, careers, culture, and community, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about those buckets and like why those are meaningful to you. Like, why does that make sense for this?
Sure. It's a career-centered show, right? The whole
Okay.
show is based on career. So we want to let people know that that's the work we do. When people come here, that's what we want to talk about. Yeah, you might have a book out. Yeah, you might do some other things, and we'd love to hear about it. But how does this help people with their careers, right? So with that being said, we try to stay there. Culture. We believe that we have a platform that's open to everyone. And some spaces aren't open to everyone. And there's a cultural component about our show that really allows people to just take a look in. We're like a big ERG. We're like a big ERG, right? We're like, hey, yeah, come over here. You belong here, right? That's the other thing we talk about. So that's the culture piece, right? Everybody belongs here on this platform. And listen, I'm speaking to the choir out there now. Everybody that wants to come on, if you have something that is unique about what you do or what you think about or what you provide a service, your organization, don't hesitate to reach out to me, DM me. People do it all the time. Let's make it happen and get you on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. And that's how we build community. We bring all
Got
those
it.
people together and we build community. And hopefully our listeners and the people that come on the show that hopefully are listeners as well, that allows them to be part of this community. And Nicole, we live in such an amazing world now where we can stream worldwide. We can broadcast here on LinkedIn. So it's not just Philly. Yeah, I love y'all, Philly. This is the community that I choose to do this show in. However, we stream worldwide. So I sit here, steps from Independence Hall, doing this show each and every Monday at 2 p.m. on 106.5 FM Philly. But the point is, we're building a community that's a global community of people that want information. So that really excites me and gets me here on this platform every Monday at 2.
I love that. That makes so much sense. I mean, and obviously careers and work around helping people get careers, helping people advance their careers has been something you've done for multiple decades now. I hope that I mean that in the most like endearing way. Like, it's amazing that you've had that longevity and you've seen a lot of ups and downs through different markets. And I think, oh, go ahead.
No, listen, I've done the work, right? I've sat on the laps of giants out here in this career space. Everybody in South Philly will tell you, I used to have 250 temporary employees at the UPS on Oregon Avenue in the billing center, though. Like, this is the work. I was doing that 27 years ago, right? Still have some of those relationships, but I just kept growing and building. So that's the community I built, and I just want to share it with the people that tune in each and every week.
I mean, if I could just take a second to say, like, I'm listening to you, and what I'm picking up here, and hopefully everybody listening is picking up too, is that you're not just a guy with a show. Like, you didn't just decide, oh, I think I want to talk about this. This is what you live. This is what you've done. You've done it from a lot of different angles and a lot of different levels over time, right? Like, through this longevity. And so that careers part is not just what you talk about, it's what you do, it's how you live. I think the culture part too, that culture of belonging and wanting people to find places where they belong and where they fit and where they can excel and be their best. I've seen you do that work. And in the community part, I mean, I know firsthand how the DMs work. Like, I think that's where we first connected. And so, you're open to bringing people in, to listening to people and what they might have to bring, whether it's to this show or maybe even roles you're recruiting or people hiring managers that you can help. It's a beautiful thing. You use the word authenticity a lot, and I think it's important. And I think you drive that home. One word that I just want to put out there for you that I think of when I think of you is I think of real. Like, just making it really simple, because authenticity now has kind of a couple different, depending on who you are, you might have some thoughts about that word. But I think the word that I would use to describe you is just very real, realistic, and honest and straightforward. So with that said, let's look ahead. Looking ahead for the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. What can people, it's been about 6 months, so congratulations, gotten through that part. What can we look forward to looking ahead, moving forward? What do you want for this platform? What do you want people to be able to take away?
Yeah, Such an interesting question because things change, and we're in a space now where change is it's the norm, it's the daily thing. And I'm talking about with the advent of AI, with different things that are happening with our government and the global workplace in general that presents opportunities for some, disadvantages maybe for others. We've had some hard conversations on the platform, and we'll continue to have difficult conversations, but I also want to have conversations rooted in opportunity. And I think that's the piece of the conversation that I want us to focus in on. How do we make the global workplace, and especially the workplace here in Philadelphia, a better workplace by providing not only information, but resources and also having fun doing it? I just enjoy the work. I love people. I love connecting. We've worked with some of the largest companies in the world, Nicole, the Vanguards and the Comcast and the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas and the Tiffany and companies. And I know it sounds like my personal brag book, but we get a lot of attention for working with companies like that. But we also get a lot of respect for working with smaller organizations, the National Urban League, Joint for Social Justice, organizations like that that have impact locally. And I think that's just as important for us. So moving forward, I just want us to be a platform, again, where we're creating community, where everyone's welcome, and where we provide great information and have some fun and maybe introduce the world, or at least our world, to people like you.
You're always deflecting the attention, right? Like this show, by definition, we started at the top, is about you, and so that people can discover you. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. You've been an amazing supporter, and this has been a great platform for me to also knowledge share and to have really meaningful conversations about how we collectively, not just job seekers versus hiring managers, or hiring managers versus whomever, or coaches, right? Like we're all one community, we're all working in one ecosystem, and how can we work together, knowledge share, and support each other to create that community you're talking about, so that we can elevate everyone's careers. We all have a place in doing that, and essentially that's what you're bringing to people, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's interesting. I love the way that you understand it, and I want to thank you, Nicole, for just being here today and helping me share a part of my story. I didn't know this was something I wanted to do, but clearly it's something I needed to do. So thank you so very much for jumping in. Listen, I still encourage our audience to give us a call, 646-600-9873. We're not going to get to your questions today, but we'll
No.
get to them on a future episode, and hopefully I can have Nicole back for that. I want to do a Coach's Corner segment. So, Nicole, I want to say thank you to you, of course, and to everyone who tuned in today. Nicole, I really appreciate you stepping in and leading such an intentional conversation. Your questions pushed me a little to reflect on the work, and I appreciate that. Not only the work, but the mission and the direction we're heading in. This is really real to us, and to our listeners. Man, trust me, your questions, your support, and your presence fuel this show. We're really trying to build something meaningful together, and I'm excited for where we're going next. If you missed any part of today's broadcast, catch the replay on our platforms, our YouTube channel. Share it with someone who needs this conversation. I hope I could inspire and bring some information. We'll be back next week. More insight, more connection, more conversations, more community. That's what really matters to us. This is the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. I'm Kenneth L. Johnson. Stay focused, stay inspired, and definitely stay connected. Nicole, thank you so very much again.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on your platform. Huge responsibility. I hope I did you proud.
You did me proud. I appreciate you, and I appreciate our audience. Listen, if you're locked in, Philly, I appreciate you. You know for a fact this is the work we do each and every Monday at 2 p.m. live on WPPM 106.5 Philadelphia. I'm Kenneth L. Johnson. I'll see you next Monday. Thank you.